the one. So this will be our second. There we go. It was basically like double the audio on the stream, so now it's single as it should be. We have tinkered a little bit with the character sheet. So TJ is kind of wondering what to pick in the attire department. It's important to dress for success and stuff like that. I haven't added anything in the core manual or anything that you need to know. No, I went over like a combat, just made like obvious, but for ease sake, you just press a button and it kind of works. The initiative is a D8 plus your focus and awareness. That's kind of how that whole thing works. Beside that, the game could probably just continue. There isn't anything that we need to clear or so. Well, before we leave off, I could say this is the operative name info from actor show. Can you see the loot inventory of the operator?
For the operator, no. It's just a blank page that says operator.
Yeah. What?
Do you want us to go ahead and put like what our assets are that we have in here as well? I mean, I went ahead and put my glasses in there. Like
gear
items, but like should I?
Assets are more like if you have a car or apartment or. But
yeah,
you mean
like,
gear?
Pretty much, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. Just take the things that you feel you started with, and then from there on we'll be able to buy it, I guess. If I do configure ownership observer to all of you, and then show. Could you see the loot inventory now?
Still just operator for me. Nothing else to
operator. Smooth operator.
I said the same thing yesterday.
If we change it to like more an owner then. Is that still nothing for you guys?
Nothing for me.
If you close it, and if you close that window, show.
Oh, I show armor, cell phone.
Oh yeah, then it shows. Okay.
Yeah, it just now showed up for me.
Okay. So that's the guy that went down, right? That was his inventory. The only thing that I've kind of given Vamp is a knife. So that's how you got the knife. Is there anything else you want from that character? Do you see like black pouches by the end of it?
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything that you guys want from this guy?
Take his flashlight.
You should be able to have your character sheet open and drag it over.
Nobody's taking his pistol?
No, I already have a pistol. I mean, I could. I already have one. I could always have a second one.
This isn't Call of Duty Jumbo Jimbo style double pistol, you know?
Too late, I'm gonna grab it.
So is there anything else you want to do with the rest of the stuff? Is that just things you throw on, like, or let him have, so to speak? Or do you toss it somewhere? Or
Let me see here.
I think someone grabbed the cell phone because they were looking through it, but
Yeah, I had grabbed through and looked at it, but that's when we found the note about the
I
get the
thought about getting the GPS, but I think I'm gonna go back and say no. Don't
yeah,
really need a GPS.
I think I'm good on everything.
all right, cool. And if you go no, it will just disappear, right? All the things you can take and stuff. So where we last kind of left off, we're gonna jump into that section, I would say. And I am sure there isn't anything that you guys need to ask or want to add. So as we pick up from last, you find yourself standing in the heart of an old cemetery. As you feel it's a very strange and airy place, as it's been the home for the poor souls of a rundown and very old orphanage, tragically burned down like many decades years ago. But the headstones, worn, crumbling, serving as like this haunting reminder of a past, inscription barely readable, even if you would shed light on it. And the atmosphere, thick with the sort of weight that it gives, the forgotten memories of all the untold stories they had. And here and there, remembering that it's later in a autumn, sort of shedding the leaves from the trees, hearing how they rustling and moving through, giving a little bit of the cold night breeze. The choice that you're facing is for before the statue, known as like a avatar, a person of your own, a witch warlock that haven't let go really, or found itself not wanting to come back. It has presented itself as Danny, this mysterious voice that has bridged the gap between you as the living and maybe the dead, some sort of spirit. If you know more about it, you know that it's a sort of lingering past with a lot of knowledge still attached to it. And when the time is right, most oftenly, they will come back as their previous selves, finding a vessel suited or be like reborn. And the three of you are understanding that the close presence of a choice is near. And it is basically one person that really needs to make the choice to bear the darkness that may follow the voice and how it kind of manifests. So it's a draining process where the avatar needs a little bit energy to sustain and be heard. And it's wait is for someone to respond. The last was the name of Danny, and hopeful to kind of aid you, asking what you need. And as you look amongst you, one has spoken out very early that this isn't a path for him. And the rest of you, which is basically Juniper and Eden, that have the sort of choice to make who will be the bearer of the voice.
I don't know. Do you have a preference, Juniper? Do you want to take the reins?
Sure, I'll do it.
Okay.
And as it's settled, as soon as you are more so agreeing to it, David a little bit more behind everyone. The sheer weight feels like a push further into the soft, uneven grass that covers all the otherwise nicely aligned like cobblestone underneath. And you start with getting 5 points in trait, so you can mark that up.
5 points in taint?
Yes, I said trait,
Okay.
but taint was the thing I wanted to say.
Oof. Okie doke.
Oh. And then the avatar of Danny is more secured at this location and with you. A time where you just need to do it once. It's not like every time you need to talk. But the channel between you now is open, and the questions or anything that you need to get off your chests is ready, so available. Do you need a recap of what you wanted to do or why you're here? Do you remember?
I know that the head of the Hive had told us that we could come here and speak with them.
Yeah, but did it include questions from you, or do you know what to ask?
Can't actually remember. Guys, did we have any specific questions that we needed from this?
I don't know that we were necessarily told what questions to ask. We were just told to come here and get guidance of some kind. I guess we'd tell it what happened with the witch hunters and they're looking for the hammer. I don't know.
Yeah, I think the main part is the chase and that the witch hammer as a book has been brought up.
Yeah, then recount everything that's gone on, what we found out. I guess describe the individual that we found this information from. That it seems to be something that's concerning not just on our level, but also to the leader of our hive. see if they know where the witch hammer is that he's looking for, or who this group might even be.
Or what might be?
Or who the group is that's searching for it. I mean, does this sound like a group that's been after the Hive before? I mean, is this like a reoccurring danger group, or?
So you describe your background and the things that you said. The voice is kind of previously made reaches all your minds, and the statue is more or less just a presence, and it doesn't move, but it feels like it has a presence, as in connection to you. It says that almost as if it were with a weight on its voice, that so the book has been brought up again. This is not the first and probably not the last. We were a small group of young, just as you, trying to find a purpose, but we're never able to make it in time. Our group failed, as many others have done before us. We are all connected to the book, and the sheer book is here somewhere. And this book is not a copy. This book is not a written story. This is the first book that was written by a very powerful person, by the blood of several witches' own, to describe how to hunt and destroy us. We didn't know at the time, but now you know what you are looking for. And maybe you will find it and destroy it and finish something that we didn't understand. And you feel like the voice just stops, as almost a hand on a shoulder, let's go.
So it's no longer there. It's
more waiting for you if you need to respond or say something otherwise.
So are we to believe that somewhere here there is an original of said book?
Yes.
And how did the witch hunters find out about it?
Through years of dialing in on its power, through years of interrogating other witches, of their knowledge, their rumors, and what they might have heard. They are persistent. It's not that they are searching for a single thread. They are casting a net and seeing what sticks and coming back to certain areas where it feels like the points lead to the book. So that they are here now means that either they are certain or they are trying to find what felt right, even when we failed.
Is there a special way to destroy the book?
I don't know.
Is there a way for us to track it? I mean, was it? I know you said it was made with the blood of some of our own. Like, I mean, is there a way for us to sense when it's near, or to narrow down its location?
Most probably through the help of others. I had a similar scent as you, a power to connect with other worlds and people. Led to my own demise, but I think others have pieces, like a puzzle. It could be solved.
Who exactly are these witch hunters in particular? There's more than one group, that's so I know. And what will they do now that we've killed one of theirs?
The group is known as a conclave. Has its shared past with a clergyman by the name of Kramer. Traces back to mid-late 1400. Still operating as if they were seeking out and destroying something that in their mind is completely broken. Us as a entity, all in all. But that's the question, what will happen, as you have poked. I imagine as soon as they can sense or feel the presence of witches again, they will go high alert. We tried, but they were powerful back then too.
So these people are from something called the Covenant?
The conclave.
Oh, the Conclave. Conclave.
But even at the time when I walked where you walk, in the same town, I knew that people around us had knowledge. The old, even if they weren't witches, they had the secrets of things they heard. Well, to give us a little piece here and there. I would search carefully amongst those that have lived here the longest, that might be able to give hints. See if they're on your side.
So maybe like the bookstore guy, like I was thinking, who collects books from old burnt down houses or sold out houses. Maybe he knows something. Or a historian. Do we have a historian in the? I don't remember.
He is our historian. Um,
If anything else, I'll be here. Now that we have opened the bridge of connection, it won't be as difficult to pick back said connection again, if you need to.
Definitely good news.
It's getting late.
So by the book being here, you don't mean at this graveyard necessarily. It's like somewhere in town.
Yes, somewhere. It would probably be felt. So, not in town, easily open or close. Maybe it's been warded.
So whoever has the book definitely knows what it is. Like, this is not just a collector.
I wouldn't
Or
think you would find it in a shelf in the bookstore, no. Someone knows of its presence and keeps it as a hidden secret.
interesting.
Or maybe said person doesn't know about it, but knows that there is a weight to hold its secret. Maybe it's been a passed down through a lineage generation. Maybe it's been something that has been promised.
Hmm.
Is there a way that we could sense the witch hunters being near?
If you have the power of blood, you could definitely do rites that senses the power of them.
Okay.
Or maybe make deals with spirits to keep an eye out. There are ways.
That's good to know.
Yeah, none of which is really in my tool bag, but maybe one of you two have a trick up your sleeve.
I can summon things. I could try to summon a spirit. But the blood right thing is new to me.
Unfortunately, I have no idea on that one.
We were told we would be safe in traveling here, though, so we do have that going for us. But so we have to go throughout the town on a scavenger hunt to try to find hints as to where the book is, and then find and destroy the book. If it's warded, how do we take down a ward? I don't know if I know that how to do that.
Maybe the elders will have past knowledge. If you don't have the powers over wards. Same there. Maybe with your summonings. Someone could tell.
Okay.
Do you have any spirits you would recommend? Or creatures that you recommend that would be more willing to help in this situation?
I haven't spoken to spirits in a long time. So no.
How long have you
Yourself
been
or a
here?
spirit?
I've been here many years. But not more than 10. Less.
And are you a spirit, like Juniper was saying, or are you something else?
I am a lingering past of what is inside you. I was once a witch, much like you, troubled with my own problems. And when the time came to an end, I didn't want it to just stop. So I'm still here. My friends too, but they don't listen that much anymore.
Well, I suppose 10 years with the same crowd is going to make every kind of joke kind of stale.
Point taken.
I mean, I'm sure there's someone around here buried, or I don't know, ashes of someone that might know something that could help us.
Maybe.
Because there's quite a few of our kind buried here, I would assume.
Or is it just the orphans?
Yes. Small poor souls. Some still here. Not really my school of magic. But I sense them at times. I wouldn't back in when I was more alive, but now different.
Well, personally, I vote we just go downtown, see what we can find, kick in a door or two if we have to. Only other option I see is start pulling the dead out of the graves and asking questions, which I think might end badly.
Yeah, it'd be easier if we spoke to like the elders of the Hive to get an actual like name of a person that's in a grave instead of just randomly picking graves. You never know who you'll get.
Yeah.
Or if they even want to return to their grave after they've been woken up. All right. Well, thank you, Danny. Did anybody think of anything else? And we have to return here to speak to you, right? Like we can't just like Juniper can't use her mind or something to speak with you whenever we need to.
As I understand, I'm connected here.
Okay.
So you're a landline, not a cell phone.
One way of seeing it, yes.
All right. Well, I mean, it's been fun. I don't know. Have fun being dead. I guess. I guess I'll take my turn at some point. But for now, I think I'm gonna just go. You know.
Yeah, I think we're done here. Anything you can think of, Juniper?
Nothing at the moment. I'm sure that something's gonna come up that I wish I would have asked later, but at the moment I can't think of anything.
Okay. Hey, what if your statue gets destroyed? What happens to you?
Maybe several voices. Bad joke.
Would you be able to have conversations with yourself?
Maybe.
I'm just wondering if like the witch hunters were ever to find out like what they would do. They'd probably just try to destroy the statue.
Wait, does that mean if we just chip off a piece of the statue and take it with us, that part of you would be tied to it?
No, that's not at all how it works. But for being destroyed as a statue, I don't know. Don't think I will disappear. More so find another place.
Okay.
Take a while. And David, if you want to talk to the students, I can make it so.
Yeah, no, I don't think so. That would be a very bad idea for everyone involved.
All right. Well,
Thanks
Until
for your
next.
help.
You know where to find me.
Thanks for the assist, and we'll probably be speaking with you again soon.
And you sense that the sort of weight is somewhat lifted, still part, as the taint has kind of taken a little bit of grip. But she has somewhat faded. But for Juniper, you definitely sense her more now, like a presence that you didn't really sense before.
Mm-hmm.
And you guess, as you have taken a little bit of its burden, that you're the only one of you three that actually feel that way. And this sense that you get is a very, very warm, kind witch at the time. A little bit lost. But you do walk the trail back and find yourself at a very later stage of the day. It would be sometime to get back to town, and by then it's probably like getting closer to 10 p.m. So the darkness is definitely swept over. It's late nights out here without any bigger lights or anything. It gets in like pitch black. It's really dark.
I kind of want to say that I can still see pretty well, even when it's really dark outside.
Mm-hmm.
Just not like a cat, but
Better.
in that direction.
Yeah, I would feel like it would be something that all of you have. A little bit of a part of your school of magic has rubbed off. So for you, and you probably have a little bit of a almost a extra sense of things, and Aiden have probably more difficult to get a little part of the summoning into a ordinary life, but probably have seen shapes or entities, figures that have done things or maybe moved through the shadows. So easily being able to say what is what at times. This is a summoned thing or not a human. And for David, probably a lot of the animal or changed or shape shifted have rubbed off. It's a cool sort of thing that stays with you guys. But yeah, you find yourself where you have your truck, David, and your bike, Aiden. What do you want to go and take a night on this? A little bit of breather and meet up in the next day.
So, Juniper, do you want to like get like a safe word between all of us so that if this whole possession thing you got going on sort of gets out of control, I can just snap your neck so you don't lose yourself entirely?
I didn't really get the feeling that that would be an issue.
I don't know how it works. I'm just sort of dropping out in the
If
open.
if it would make you feel better, then sure, I guess. Should we maybe speak about it somewhere else? I mean, if this is something that you are legitimately concerned about, then possibly not a good idea to do it in the location where there's
What, in a cemetery?
yeah, that with something that is already spoken through me, I suppose I should say.
But isn't she already in your head, so she can probably listen anyway?
It sounded like she could only really be here when we are in this location, or at least that's the implications. Hence why I was saying maybe not doing it at this location. I mean, because she's already said she can't go elsewhere.
Yeah, she's like inside the statue somehow. Or tethered to it.
My thought would be, you know, leave the location of the statue, come up with the safe word, and yeah.
Yeah,
All right,
that sounds fair. Yeah.
where do we want to go? Do we want to head straight to the Hive? Do we want to head to my safe house? Do we want to go to the local, I don't know, library or bookstore?
Well, considering what time it is, I don't think either of those places are going to be open. And I don't think my boss would be particularly happy to see us at this time of night. Just saying.
Okay.
I mean, there's opening hours and there's hours for, well, us.
Yeah,
Besides,
but
don't we have a guy on the inside? Historian or whatever his name was.
Mr. Granger,
Yeah.
the bookstore owner. I mean,
There's no harm in dropping by and knocking on the door and seeing if he's willing to let us browse it all. Maybe ask a few questions.
If he doesn't answer, then I guess we have our answer.
Yeah.
Although he is in his 50s or so, so he might be asleep already.
I wouldn't think that he would be awake. I mean, but if you guys really want to try him now, then I guess sure. Might as well.
All right, so we'll head over to the bookshop, see if he's open or taking visitors.
All right. And you take said truck. Where do you in truck or extra
Based on
drive?
the driving of everybody, I think I'll just stick with the truck. Sound like Aiden's a little too fast for my liking.
Probably.
But yes, you make your route to the town, and it takes whatever it takes. Nothing more than that. The town itself has, since you went, started to get back to a little bit more a normal state. When you left it, it was in a blackout completely. But the power has restored with your help. Not to the knowledge of anyone, but you know. Most, if not all, stores are closed at the time of like 10 p.m. The only businesses that is open is like Becky's Diner and a pub that is run by less, almost criminal sort of people. Other than that, a lot of the town is a little bit of movement, but in a sleep state almost. So as you're driving by, stopping outside the bookstore, it's definitely closed and locked up. You know that he has an apartment further away at in the town. If you wanted to do that, or if you wanted to take it the next day.
Seeing as we are here already, do we feel anything? Any sense of the book or anything like that? I mean, I know she had said that it would be warded, but you never know. Maybe we're somewhat close.
Yeah, that the power itself hasn't struck you as odd or changed in any way. If so, it is heavily warded in that case. So nothing that you feel.
I'm gonna hop out and approach the door to the shop.
Hmm?
Yeah.
Yeah, there is no, after a while, response or movement or anything really. If it were, someone is definitely not wanting to show its face. But yeah, it feels like it's closed.
Yeah, no one home.
Mr. Granger's probably in bed by now. We can always check in the morning. Do I
Yeah.
know if there's any cameras on this building?
You don't think there are any cameras. I mean, he is too cheap.
Stingy?
Yeah, he's too cheap to invest in anything that is called security.
What about the neighboring buildings? Any on those?
No, not generally. I mean, it's a fairly open, nice community. There isn't a lot of crime waves or anything. The most signs of crimes and stuff is people passing, like the tourists or stuff. The sheriffs being granted that there are just two, or maybe what you are dreading, maybe just one at the moment. There are other sheriffs too, but it's kind of like a big sheriff department, and maybe if they were all here, it would be like 10 of them. But at the time, they made it so that there is like one sheriff office here, and then they have like offices in other places, but seldom they like locate and sit at the same desk. So here it's like one sheriff and one deputy, and in the other places similar, but they are like a hour or more away, the closest one. This is probably the bigger place, like a community town like this.
Okay.
So most problems is between the sheriff and the rangers, like the ones that take care of the woods and stuff like that, because that's where the tourists end up, and they are just bad for business. Everyone knows that.
Well, guys, seeing as Granger isn't here, what should we do? Should we go to the bar, see if maybe anybody's noticed some new friendly faces in town?
No, the bar's full of biker gang.
True.
That's probably not the best idea.
Okay.
Like
Yes.
it is the biker gang. Like, but the biker gang owns the mechanic shop and the bar.
Okay.
So
yes.
diner would probably be better. But even then, there's a motorcyclist that kind of is dating the daughter of the diner owner. So
Where does this
kinda have a bit-
Granger live? Is it close by? Anyone know?
5-10 minutes.
I mean, I say, we're here. Why not? At most, he'll get grumpy.
Okay. In the meantime, I'm gonna try to call Mila again at the Hive.
Mm-hmm.
Hey.
Does she pick up?
Yes, she do. She kind of last time she was a little bit off, almost not really cordial at all, and this time she's like picking up after like a tone or two, and like, yeah, hi, then did it go well?
It I feel like we have more questions than answers now, but yeah, I just I was wondering if you could point us to someone that could teach us about wards
And
and maybe blood rights.
is it so that you want to learn, or
I mean, I could learn about how to use or unuse wards. That's fine. We were told that we might come across some wards, and
right?
so as of right now, I don't really know anything about wards. So
I mean, there
Do
are ways that you can learn from the Hive, and it's more or less a time factor, right?
yeah, is there like a crash course?
Yeah, it'll probably take a couple of weeks at least, or
Oh, weeks. Oh, great.
I don't know. Some have done it in like a week, maybe, but it's not something simple. You don't just learn new ways just like that, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how pressing it is to find the book, but um, if there's people in town or nearby that are looking for it, then I might not have time to take a course, so to speak.
Right.
Is there like a book that might be able to, read or use that makes things easier?
We have a library that you guys could start reading. We haven't really been open about that, but as this is a very special time, I'm open to let you guys be able to more or less have your way to read and go through it. It's a lot of volumes, small library.
Okay.
Real quick, do you have speakerphone on, or are you like?
Yeah, I figure what would a speakerphone if you're nearby again.
So, Mila sounds like when she answered, and her tone of voice and cadence, it's all very different now. Is it?
Yeah. It's more or less like whatever was the short
Like whatever was stressing her is not stressing her anymore.
yeah. It's almost as if it is actually a more relaxed version, if that makes sense.
So a picture is like walking and just like on the way. I'm just gonna blur out like. So Mila, you wanna give us some insight here? You sounded like a machine when we called you last time. Like, what's going on?
We have a small problem that isn't necessarily woven into yours. I'm not really sure how it will turn out. I think it'll work out. If not, I will definitely have things I could say more tomorrow. It's Interesting.
Right. Well, I mean, I committed murder not an hour ago, so
I didn't
I'm-
hear any of it.
I'm not really too bothered. Let's be real here. Mila, please. It's not the first time I killed someone.
Yeah, still didn't really hear it.
Yeah, static on the line, blah blah. I get it. Same usual shit. Yeah.
However, we have had a person on our doorstep. And said person have made us realize that we might not be completely alone. And whatever is out there is being investigated at the moment. I'm not a person that takes risks, I know. So I wanted it to be 100% with certainty that whatever it is contained. That we know what it is, at least.
That's fair. I mean, we all enjoy X-Files and the truth is out there, but this is getting a little too cryptic for me. So, anyone else have anything they want to suggest or imply or?
Is Mr. Granger on good speaking terms with us?
Yeah, I think
Would
so.
he opposed to a late night visit, do you think?
I would assume he's sleeping at this hour, but if you're very adamant that the night is very important, I'm sure he would listen. Otherwise, there is always a tomorrow.
Also, are there anybody? Is there anybody within the hive itself who's really familiar with the history of the hive?
I would say the library, if you want to go really back. I could answer probably our generation of group back 50 years. What I've been told, what I know. But if you're really interested in knowing the origins, and I would say it's time to buckle up the reading.
It sounded from Danny that they had attempted to find this book as well. So I just was curious if we have any history of what it was like when they were out and about. If that makes sense.
Who? Danny and
her hive. Their hive. I don't know if Danny is a woman or a man, but
yeah, her hive then. I would say we could meet up tomorrow, or if it's very pressing, we could probably take tonight too, but it'll probably be very late that I get back. However, I have a little bit of knowledge from when she was around. So it was Danny that was there. That's interesting. Didn't know.
You've never visited yourself?
No. There are more than one avatar here. And I talked to one of them. and talking to several or more, it could change you for a while. So
Is
I
there
didn't want to do that. Yeah.
is there a reason you recommended Danny to us instead of the one you've spoken with before then?
The one I've spoken to, I know wouldn't help with the pressing matter. Because that one, he hasn't been here in our community at all. He has kind of moved here of sort. But I knew that the youngsters that perished not long ago, I would say 7, 8 years ago, one of them found root back there. And I think that whatever happened to them is probably a repeating occurrence.
Interesting. Okay.
All right. Well, do we, since bookstore's closed, old guys probably asleep, do we want to head to the Hive first and jump into the library, or should we wait until the morning?
I assume we've been walking this entire time.
Mm-hmm. You would probably be at your vehicles, kind of like either you take whatever it is, like a half hour plus to the Hive that is not in the town. It's a small, in your sense, Hive community house,
Mm-hmm.
like a cabin house that is fairly remote.
We could always bunk there and sleep there if we need to. Or when it gets too late.
Yeah, that, or
Yeah.
you basically find your own and meet up again tomorrow. That's up to you guys.
Anybody have a preference?
Not really. I'm good with either.
David? You rather sleep at your own place or at the Hive?
Equal distance to drive, so
All right, might as well head to the Hive. I'll try to get as much reading as I can done on wards. Or maybe Mila can point me in the direction of an elder that I can summon. Plus, I think the Hive's warded, so we should be protected from anyone trying to sense us. Am I right in that, Skyget, or am I mistaken?
No, you're right. The place where the Hive is warded against any sort of scrying, intrusive, or any otherwise.
Okay.
Um, I guess I'll head to the Hive too, and I'll just bunk there for the night. See if maybe I can help you find some books or something.
Mm-hmm. You make your way there then. Is a little group. The cabin itself is looking like it's not been touched in a while. It's a place where you come and go, and under this little uh, time frame, you get a small message as well to where there is a specific code, quite long, like 8 numbers, and a certain item that is in a bookcase that you should turn, and then there is a keypad, and you can kind of put the numbers in, and there's the library.
Fascinating.
So you need to look up the history, and I need to look up wards, right?
Yep. Is there anything we need to roll or anything, Skag, to see if we manage to find something?
Yes. Let us look at the investigation, I would say, or academics if you have that. Either or.
Oh, this is gonna be so bad for me. Investigation, right? Or academics?
Yeah.
Either one.
Oh, 1 success. Okay.
Yeah. And the success level determines how many of the successes you can use. So if you roll exceptionally well, the level you have in a skill will still determine how well you will perform or kind of go with the skill. So in this case, you both kind of hit your targets or the max roof, what you could go for. So Juniper, what kind of things are you looking for?
I was trying to find who the members of Danny's Hive would have been, I guess. I know she had said that the book could possibly be like an heirloom or something. Maybe one of the former members of our Hive has continued to look.
If they're alive, yeah. I thought they all died.
I don't know if they all died or not. I can't remember if she said that or not. But if not them, then maybe some of their research is with their families. If they're old places, maybe Mr. Granger has them. If we can at least figure out who they were, then we might be able to figure out what happened to their stuff, their research.
Right. So are you looking for the families where they were in and the names, or more their background story, or?
I guess right now their names. Their names and their family names. If I get that, then maybe I can track down where their current their families currently are.
I will see what we have. Did you remember off bat before I look?
What, the names of the characters?
Mm-hmm.
Hoop, Danny, Charlotte, Bobby, and Graham.
So Hooper or Hoop had a parent that was Herbert Hooper, which is also the CEO of the lumber mill. And he was destined to take over, but when the Hive fell back in the day, like 7-8 years ago, 7 to be exact, every one of the younger group, they died except Hoop, and Hoop couldn't stand the idea of being alone, so he left Oak Ridge and just took his truck and disappeared. And then you have Marks. Violet Marks is a barber. And I don't remember that was Kira's character. Do you remember what?
Charlotte?
Charlotte?
I didn't remember Charlotte's ties. I remember Bobby is the son of the sheriff. He was in the Hive, and
Yeah,
I think he died.
Yeah, I have all the last names. I don't have the first names. So Charlotte Marks.
Danny was with the newspaper.
Yeah.
Graham was a drug addict.
Yeah. Graham.
But lived with Danny.
What was the name of the sheriff?
The sheriff was
Bobby?
Bobby was the sheriff's son,
Yeah. Then I have all the names. So Hoop was the son to Herbert Hooper, the lumber mill.
Right.
Charlotte Marks had a mother, Violet Marks, a barber. Always with a laptop, little edgier sort of clothes, rebel, wanted to come out. Had a dog. Yeah, a small pup. I don't really remember exactly what it was.
It was Danny's dog.
Yeah. She took care of it. Then Bobby Hale is the son for Alan Hale, which is the sheriff. But Alan Hale wasn't the best father. He wanted him to be a police officer, but Bobby was more like a free spirit person. And he, as much as the lumber mill kind of took it kind of hard, that he didn't want to follow along. So their relationship was really bad. He talked like openly shit about his own son, sort of. Called him a failure and a no good. Then you had Danny Reyes, the avatar that you've spoken to. Do you want to ask something about Bobby Hale?
I was just going to ask about the current sheriff. Is he still like?
He is quite bitter, yeah.
So he's still
gotten worse.
Yeah,
it's gotten worse because like whatever feelings he had for his son, he can't. His son's gone now, so it's like.
So he still hates his son, or is he just upset that he can't like make up with his son?
Pick any of it.
Okay.
Depending on
Yeah, like complicated soul.
yeah.
Okay.
Danny Reyes was the avatar you spoke of. Her parent is Isabel Reyes, a vet in the town. So Isabel Reyes kind of travels around to different farms and stuff and take care of the animals. But Danny was like a on-off reporter for Oak Ridge Herald. Mainly because she was put into sports and she hated sports. And she wanted to cover like important stuff, action-based, but the newspaper isn't that vibrantly big. It's quite a small community. So if you go to it, you basically get put on a position and you have to work on it for a while, and she didn't like it. And it is said that she lost her father early, and she has been searching for why he disappeared and died. And that was also probably what she named in as her own sort of demise in a way. She searched for something that she didn't really wanted to find answers on, but wanted to know anyway. But
Yeah.
the answers were not good. The last one was the most troubled person, Graham Underwood. There are two parents, but no one really knows where they are, Sam Underwood and Teresa Underwood. But he was all over the place, an erratic person. He wanted to find a place, but due to drug use and abuse to his own body in all shapes and forms, he couldn't really articulate any sort of feeling or couldn't really find his own.
Mm-hmm.
So he was basically just a very wounded and a person that was lost.
Yeah.
So that's the background on them.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Hope you took some notes.
I did. I just hope I got enough.
Yeah. So, Aiden, what did you kind of read or search for?
I wanted to learn about wards. If there's like some simple, even if it's not simple, something that like teaches about how wards are placed, how they can like possibly be removed, even if it's just like a little bit, and then I have to keep reading to like learn more. I just want to get a basic understanding of wards.
The only one that has had or have knowledge about wards or things of the like is a pact helper that is called or named Johnny Fields. And Johnny Fields is a similar person to almost David, kind of like a loner in the woods somewhere, just walking around, living his own, doesn't really have a home, but he attends the Hive at times to feel like some sort of normal side of himself and meet people. So whenever there is like a commute or whatever, he often comes in and just sits in a corner, kind of see how much of this social mix he can take before he's like, yep, I'm out of here. This is enough. And kind of just walks out. So he knows about stuff like that, and then you basically have a choice to maybe start to learn about it. The different ways of magic is kind of represented here, but only to take you thus far, kind of learning the first point in any sort of school.
Mm-hmm.
So there is a possibility to do it, and kind of like what Mila said, it will probably take a week or so to kind of start the process of learning the core, and whatever that might entail.
Well, summoning has always come natural to Aiden, so this is going to be difficult.
Yeah. In that case, it would be enchantment, I think. Let me have a gander. Core rules. That maybe. You could argue glamour in a way, like you put up an illusion. But the strongest, if it's like a strong ward, yeah. Enchantment. Imbue. But that means a couple of days at the very least, like a week of studying.
Well, I guess I'll start. If I have time to come back every day, I'll do what I can. But I don't know what the future holds, so I'll just promise to do it and then see what happens.
You take a book, kind of like the Enchantment 101. You start here. Welcome to the art of, and you're clipping with your eyes. And what would you guys want to do until the next morning? Studying and kind of reading up, I would assume. And for, I guess, David, what would you do?
I don't think he's doing much of anything. This is really not something he ever does.
Anything that you guys, as you progress through the night now and to the morning somewhere, is there anything that is very you in a humanity way, wanting, if you have any taint, you could roll for it? Meaning that a good example would be for you to fix a lot of the coffee, trying to find a good coffee and just sit there and breathe in some of its aroma. And
yes, that is me.
yeah.
I am doing that.
So what would be a scene that David would do to, if you have any taint that you want to get rid of? Or are you good?
I mean, he has a smidge, but it doesn't really bother him too much.
And in that case, Aiden, do you have any that you want to? No?
No, I don't have any taint, but I'm sure that at some point in Aiden's reading, he starts to fall asleep, so he turns on some instrumental music to try to keep himself awake while he reads. And then once he gets to a certain point, he'll go to bed.
Yeah. And for you, is it probably more towards the morning, something that would be considered a downtime? For you, Vamp?
Yeah. She'd probably, since this place looks like an abandoned cabin, she'd probably just take her cup of coffee outside, sit out on the front steps, listen to the birds, and drink a shit ton of coffee.
Would that be the
That's-
morning or
Yeah,
night?
that'd be the morning.
The morning. So that would be the morning that you are early up, or is it like more mid, like 8, 9, or are you more like 4, 5 up early?
Probably 8, 9, around in there.
And for David, how would your time frame be? Up early or? Would you find June sitting on the steps to the cabin, or depending on it?
There's a little bit of urgency to this, but it's not like, house fire, get out or die. But it's, the boat is leaking, so maybe paddle to shore. He's not going to be up first, but he'll wake up, in good time.
Hmm.
The coffee will be done by the time he's up.
Aiden, how about you?
I think the coffee would be cold by the time he's up. Just because he's just such a no alarm clock kind of person. He's late to work quite often because of this. But he just kind of like lets his body naturally wake up, and after a long night of reading, I imagine it's kind of taken its toll on him a bit. That, and he's never been all that great at academics, so his mind's probably hurting.
Would you say that you subscribe to the newspaper, or is it more if the news have anything very special, or not interested at all?
I think she would read it if she noticed there was something interesting on it. Assuming the bookstore is kind of like my library, we do keep a newspaper on hand. I don't read the newspaper, but if there's something interesting, then yeah, I think she would do that. I think she would read the newspaper if she sees something interesting on the front page. So.
Yeah. The thing is that the biggest presence is kind of online. Hard paper comes out like on weekends. Now Friday, so I would say Aiden, you are more the one who kind of checks things out, as in subscribed to the newspaper.
Yeah, I definitely think he'd be subscribed, just because, like, it's just everyone subscribes to the newspaper in town. Like, that's what you do. Like, support the local community kind of thing.
I'm gonna send you a thing in the game. It kind of pops up.
Oh dear. Someone was eaten in the woods by wolves.
That's weird.
Where?
Whispering Pines Trail.
It is quite near where you were.
Ah.
They don't have an identity on the person, but they've collected samples and dental records, like comparing dentals with dental records to try to figure out who this person is. Because apparently it was such a bad scene that they couldn't identify him.
How unfortunate.
decent cover story, I guess.
Hmm.
Do we even have a wolf population here? Out of curiosity, I mean, are
Yeah, I
wolves
mean,
mostly Western?
not like overpopulated, but there are sightings of them.
Okay. Thank you. Anything else of interest? Anything about the power outage yesterday?
No, not. I mean, I imagine there probably is something in there about it, but I don't see any pressing article. The one that caught my eye is this partially eaten body. I mean, yikes. That it just sounds weird. Yeah, I guess we'll keep an eye out, make sure we're not attacked since it's nearby. You don't think that like those people did it, right? Like they couldn't have like if the person was a witch or a warlock and then they disguised it to look like an attack by wolves somehow, like threw a grenade at them or something. I don't know.
You don't really need. I mean, an axe or a knife will. It's just gonna take a little while, but you can make it look like an animal did it.
Hmm.
I would think the cuts would be too clean for it to. I mean, don't most canines like bite down and shake their heads, savage their prey? I mean,
They found half a body. I don't think they're gonna dig too deep into it.
true.
Besides, they can identify the person.
Does Johnny live nearby? Would that be him? I guess you said he lives alone in the woods. I'm sure David might know him or where he lives roughly.
Mr. Fields.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say that David, you would know of this kind of other loner in the hive. Rugged, older, in his like late 40s. Just finding a place, putting up a little bit of shelter, lives there for a while, brew like pine tea and sits there and thinks, and then he kind of puts everything back together almost as if there were nothing there, and then he moves on, fishing for a while and, you know, moving around, never having really a spot.
I guess we don't really need to find him. I was just gonna, I don't know, this whole thing made me think of him since it's out in the woods, but maybe when we find out where the book is, we can take him with us and use him to take down the wards. I don't know. I'm not sure I'm gonna be able to figure out how to do it in time. Depending on when we find it. I mean, if it takes weeks, then great. Any luck with the history lesson?
A little bit. Found some information about Danny's associates, their families, things like that. Sounds like all of them are dead, but one who's up and disappeared.
So talking to family is gonna be not fun to do.
Not really. No.
Anything further back than that of like people that have ties to the history of the town that date back like over 50 years, 100 years or more, like centuries?
I didn't find that out. No. But that does sound like something that Mila would be able to answer. I know she had said as long as it was within like the past 50 years, she would have an idea. So she could probably help us more on that front.
All right. So we'll wait till Mila shows up.
Might as well. I don't think that Mr. Granger is going anywhere.
Is Mila coming to the cabin? She said she was, right?
Yeah, she said she would be here, I think this morning by the latest. I don't think she was in town. I think she had been out of town when we first called her, if I remember.
So you guys are waiting for her? Question mark.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I would say it takes to like closer to 10, where a car is approaching, and this place is kind of good in the sense that no one can get here if they're not like sneaking in the woods, but they can't really approach this place without it being heard pretty far. So at this point you hear a car emerging, and the question is a little bit, how do you want to approach it? Do you want to stand waiting? Do you want to ready stuff, or do you want to, how do you want to approach it?
I think Aiden will still be inside reading about wards, trying to get as much time in as he can. I don't think he'll be outside. Yeah.
Yeah, and the rest of you?
Vamp stepped away.
All right. How about you, Redix, then? Or is it just you and I, Teach?
Could be.
Well, we can take a little bit of a small break on just seeing if and when people come back. Did you notice the small little thing I added to the article, location-wise?
No.
It's where we might be state-wise.
Oh. No, I didn't.
All right.
I guess that's proves me for not reading it well enough.
Did you look it up now?
I don't think I have access to the sheet anymore.
You should have. It's news one in open journal folder.
Oh, there it is. Oh, okay. I did see it. I just didn't think about it.
Yeah. It's kind of a fitting place.
Yeah.
There are a couple of states that kind of fits.
I've definitely been there, and it is very wide open country.
Yeah. Like Grand Mountains, and if you guys can't really see that little...
Some mountains, I wouldn't say Grand Mountains. Like Colorado's better at mountains.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But Yeah, it has some mountains. It's well, at least the part that I visited was very flat. Almost like every town was a very small town and farming towns.
Hmm.
My parents were thinking about moving there, and I was like, please don't.
Redix, are you back up? We are mostly waiting for Redix at this point.
Sorry about that.
No. I mean, we should probably take a couple of minutes breaks in the mid time, I guess.
Quick question. Do I get to roll to remove some of the taint?
Yes, you press taint. And you take away 1 point. Not
Okay,
much.
there we go. Yay!
However, you are able to do it at a rate of, like, I would say once per day, maybe even twice per day, depending on a little bit. It's a little bit of the downtime.
Okay, excellent.
And
Good to know.
And if you're able to take a longer downtime, you're able to kind of reset it fully.
Excellent. Excellent. Just what I would like to hear.
Mm, mm. I could actually, as you asked about it, teach. What could we do? We could do a duplicate and paste this in here. Save. And we could do like a 2 and close. At this time, you guys can oh yeah, you can get it. It will also give you a little bit of a insight on what maybe transpired or what happened in your absence. Or
Well, I guess the deputy's not dead. So that's good. Because the newspaper talked to him.
Yeah, that is good.
By the time the security guard and Caldwell got back, the power was already restored. Gee, I wonder why.
like 2 really bad people at the post of the work, you know. Oh, I think everything just booted up. I mean, just a small hiccup.
There were reported gunshots too, which makes sense because, yeah.
It doesn't say anything about the rental car, though.
No, doesn't say anything. The photographer for the Herald captured images of the power station and the surrounding area, which appeared calm and undisturbed. So she got hushed up. If there's, I mean, there could have been signs of vehicles that have come and gone, and she didn't at least take pictures of it.
Or it didn't look out of the ordinary. At least.
Yeah, or that too.
Yeah. I mean, there are cars coming in and out, but they haven't disturbed like the fence or destroyed.
And then again, like, you know, there's also the fact that when we were leaving, there was I didn't see them, but you guys saw a group of people heading towards the power station. So they could have taken the vehicle.
True. Very true.
A bit of cleanup.
Yeah.
That makes sense because I do recall the individual's gun. We didn't bring it with us, so that would have been dropped on the staircase, and that's not mentioned. So it looks like it got cleaned up.
Yep.
But as you're kind of discussing this to tie back to the thing that is about to happen, you standing in like the open community living room of sort, a lot of old different from different houses, sofas, chairs, and just plethora of different styles as people have brought their own, found a good working chair, and this is now its home. So it's a myriad of different styles in here, and it fits maybe anywhere between 10 to 20 people all in all. The library is big enough for at least a couple of people to read, and several bookcases kind of line the walls, but that one is below, kind of a hidden, almost like a shelter underneath the house, hard to find. But as you're standing in the living area, like I said before, you can't approach this cabin without it being heard really well. So even if you're standing here discussing the news of from the Herald, you hear kind of the crunching of small pebbles as a car is approaching. You know that it'll take you guys at least a reaction to either be very prepared, greet them at the door, hide. You know, you can set up whatever you want. And what would you guys want to do?
I'm just gonna stay where I am.
Mm-hmm.
I'm inside, so I guess I'll hide if something goes down.
And for David?
How many people besides us are there at this place?
At this point, the Hive is at a strength of 10, a little bit more, not more than 20, but more towards 10. It is very difficult to say exactly because it's a place where it's on a little bit on the outskirts of anything bigger, like a city or whatever. So it's not a lot of people, and the shake of a lot of loss, like the young before you guys have kind of shaken it. So there haven't been a lot of people joining up or finding this hive. But at this point, a bit over 10 people, where you three are part of that, a bit over 10.
I'm assuming the front door has some nice like wooden porch outside.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just gonna sit there and watch the incoming vehicle.
Mm-hmm. And as the car comes around, there is one driver, and it's Mila who is driving. A leader for you guys that might have been a little bit in the shadows, mostly because she's been moving around a lot to other hives that is like a couple of hours of a drive away, and she's trying to build something, and it is hard because it's a lot of really strong individuals that is pulling different directions, and she wants it to be a little bit more hippie commute. Everyone is together. Her dream would probably be like everyone lives in the cabin together. No one in your group knows that that will ever happen, but you know. And she drives up, and right by the porch your truck is, and even the bike is at, there is a small place where maybe in total 4 or 5 cars could kind of park. So she makes a park beside your truck and steps out, and there is no really need for locking the car, so she kind of just slams the door a little bit and sees that only you, David, is here, but looks at the bike and says with a very calm voice that the others are here too.
Inside. Also, real quick, has any one of us, like, has anyone ever been followed here, but by someone who shouldn't?
No, we have people that we have trusted before. So it's depending on what you would call a secure location, maybe compromised through the years. The local sheriff, due to Bobby, his son at the time, they knew of the place. So I would say people know of it as a place of recreation, finding your own peace and your own spirit, your own well-being, more a resort and a place for oddballs to just mix and match, you know?
Yeah, right. Calm down there, Miss Idealist. This isn't the utopia I think it is, but I'm getting way ahead of myself. The others are inside. I'll be inside in a bit. I'm just gonna have a look around.
And she nods, and as she's taking a couple of steps up to the stoop, like the porch side, you guys are side by side, and she kind of stops, not looking at you, kind of just stops beside you. And she says very like lightly and calmly that the person I talked about,
Mr. K.
there is something out there. If you believe in the old folklore of werewolves, this is probably as close as you could get. If you sent it, it is near. I can't say if it's good or bad, if it's after or for. But be careful if you go out.
So, out of character, real quick, like, has David ever encountered a werewolf?
There are in the canon things that would be as close as you could get a werewolf. Like people that have been introduced to really gnarly stuff and become like more a morphed beast, like a dire wolf. Not as much as like a walking human wolf, more like a larger dire wolf in the size of like a Imagine having a strong wolf, but the size of like a grizzly bear. So that's things that either you have met, seen, encountered, and if so, you know they are very primal. They're not like really easy to converse with or make sense of, but they have a presence of a mind, and you don't know if they could like shapeshift the way you can, but you guess so. So it's up to you if you have met or seen or what kind of level you want to put your character into. But that's the background.
Yeah, so you know, there are other were beasts, other bears, for example.
Mm-hmm.
I think in that case, when she mentions that there's maybe something along those lines outside,
And you notice when she says it, she don't know what it is. She has no clue what an altered beast could be. She is now on like bare minimum feeded information of there is something out there, you know. So she's uncertain.
There's a brief flashback to a evening in the forest that didn't end quite that well. He is gonna look up at her and go, I really hope you're wrong, but if they're here, I can find them.
And she kind of just nods, and as she's walking now, leaving past you, she is saying it as like a parting word of, I hope you're ready. And she opens the door. And for the other two, Aiden and June, Mila is a person in her 40s, a little bit more hippie styled, like bohemian style, several layers of clothings. Her hair is all over the place. Little bit of red, thicker patches, and been one that has like been around quite a bit in the Hive society. So if you ever been in this Hive or another, she's probably been there in the background too, kind of been seen. She's always wanted the best for the Hive. However, now later when she has gotten a lot of responsibilities, and it's been due to the fact that the Hive those years ago kind of got broken up so harshly. She took over, and it became like a small child that she took care of and tried to just make it better. But that has taken its toll. So definitely, you guys see that she is weary. Her eyes are kind of a little bit empty of its former almost childlike happiness. It's a little bit more the parent that is fed up and tired. But she opens the door and sees that the two of you are there, and looks over to the kitchen open area that is kind of built into the living room, and walks over and starts with like setting another pot of coffee on. And she acts as if it's like your if you guys wanted to interact, she's there. But otherwise, she's more or so like just fixing in the kitchen.
The door is gonna open after she's gone in and done something. Stay inside. Danilo closes the door and he walks away.
Okay.
That was a little random. Oh,
Ominous. I guess Aiden will walk over to her and so I started reading about wards. You're right, it's gonna take me a while. But I was wondering if you know of anyone that has like some deeper roots in the Hive area other than like the sheriff's son and the sawmill guy's son. Like, are there other witches or warlocks that have deeper connections to, or people in town that have deeper connections to the Hive and the area? Like more history.
well, I'll just jump right in there. Don't even tell her good morning or anything.
She is making like the pot of coffee, filling up the cups and stuff. If you want to see people that might have had a history or connection to the Hive in any way besides the parents that got lost, the I know that some of the older generation took a very deep got a deep connection with the morgue, and it's a mother and son sort of business that they have, both the big park cemetery and help out with the police as a morgue for them, but they also have a funeral home. So maybe the family funeral might be a place. It's
Okay.
Judith, Dillard, and Elmer that runs it.
Skag is out of character. Is it that Elmer from the previous Hive?
I don't know. I know that Herbert Hooper have been part of a lot of very close encounters with the Hive. He had a sister that was killed before the young ones were lost.
And she was a witch?
Yeah, Darlene. I don't know much about her, but I know that she was a strong person within the Hive, and I think that Herbert now holds us a little bit accounted for whatever happened. He doesn't know exactly what happened, but yeah. Your friend, and she kind of looks over to June, has been a great source of knowledge too. Thomas Granger has been very helpful with books and at times finding odd trinkets that is helpful.
Good to hear. Um, do you have an idea if the previous Hive members, the ones who are no longer here, if they were researching anything? If so, do you think any of their research still exists with their families, or would it have been taken here, or would Mr. Granger have it maybe?
Granger, maybe. Depending on if they, found it trustworthy. I think definitely he would be a source of it. But otherwise, their homes or their parents, maybe.
Okay. Is there any that you suggest reaching out to first? Any that would be in perhaps more willing to assist than, say, the sheriff? I get the feeling that he would not be the one to go to first.
You could probably probe a little bit whatever he has as a knowledge, but I don't know. He has kind of put a lid on a lot of the emotions, and even though they run very high, being able to reach him is really tough.
Yeah.
But you could always try.
Okay. Well, thank you. Do you know what's going on with David? Like, why we're not supposed to go outside?
She puts the coffee on, like, and you hear the aggressively coffee machine start to bubble and make all the noises it does, she takes a small stool that is underneath the desk itself or the kitchen area, and she sits on it, like, just looking at the both of you. I had a talk with I don't know exactly how to say it, but out there close to the town there have been sightings where, and she just fumbling and trying to find the words because it feels like she doesn't believe it and she doesn't really have a full understanding of what. But she continues with, like, I talked briefly with our park ranger, Bill, and he talked about a lot of the elks and other animals that is moving around. Even the bears have been taken, like, not away, but, and she kind of looks up, they've been attacked and some even eaten. And he is not sure what could do such a thing, but he's putting the theory of like a large old grizzly bear walking far away and into our territories. But I reached out to one member, Fields. You might have seen him around, and he talked about these beasts that have started to emerge. And if you ever heard or thought of these stories of were beasts, wolves, and such, he is determined that that's out there. And I'm short of words. I don't know exactly what to make of it. It's
Did you speak to him this morning? I know in the newspaper they're saying that they found a body. It looked like a wolf attack. Is it really maybe this creature or whatever it is?
might be. That's what I was up to yesterday, late when you called. I got the news of sightings of like large beasts moving around, and Field, I mean, he's talked about these creatures as if they were so real, and I don't doubt him, but I mean, I haven't seen them myself. I know a lot of things that could manifest, but that's, I don't know, puts a lot of things into perspective.
Through my summoning, do I know of like any demons or entities that could have been summoned that aren't from this plane
Could be,
that could equal this?
yeah.
Yeah.
If it's a powerful sort of summon. Yeah.
Aiden's gonna like listen and then like go back to the books and try to find a book on werewolves.
But yes, you could, if you want to, go into the library section and start to kind of look things up. If that's your choice.
Yep.
Make a roll for academics or investigation. Yeah. See if there's anything, if you just give it a little bit of a browse. There's definitely different volumes of things that is unheard of but beastly sort of things out there, entities that might roam. Both things that have been summoned into our present day, but also things that are the culture equivalent of demons, devils, and things of nature. So you start to kind of brief through them and finding a couple of different volumes. And June, anything you want to ask Mila more?
Any advice for us? Anything you think we need to focus on in particular, or anything that we can help you with?
I'm in my position at the moment. I'm dabbling in so much. I'm not really sure what you got out of Danny, and if you want to keep it for yourselves, I respect that too. I'm hoping to help you. I'm also hoping to find whatever creatures out there. And there are discussions about new people that might want to join the Hive as well. So I need to do background checks on them and see who they are. And there is a lot on my plate. So I'm here to help you if whatever you feel is a question. But I will jump back and forth in different matters to the Hive.
I see. Well, thank you for your help. We've really appreciated it. And I hope everything goes well. And I'll give her like a brief summary from what we heard of from Danny about, you know, the book. Basically just a basic rehash of what we said to her last night.
Mm-hmm.
So but yeah, other than that, I guess I would go to a window and try and look through the window, see if there's anything out there, if
Right.
there's anything going on out there.
Speaking of, as Aiden is looking through the volumes, Junior kind of just looking out, trying to see if there's any sort of movement change. David, you have been moving out into the woods, dense pine trees, and raw nature. What is your intent? What do you want to do?
He can track anything that lives here easily enough, but he's gonna need a bit more of an edge to pinpoint whatever this might be, if it's even here. So he's going to try and assume a new form, and try to put himself in the shoes of what he's potentially tracking. So
Rolling for transformation. Right. And I'm guessing like a wolf. Or is it any other creature you're thinking about? Did we lose you, Redix?
nope, still here.
Yeah. What kind of animal are you thinking about?
He's gonna be a little bulkier. He's gonna go get like fur on his face and neck, and he's gonna become a little more like a bear.
Mm-hmm. Are you tracking? Are you just moving along? Are you trying to find a specific thing?
He's gonna try and catch the wind and see if he can smell what this might be, and just cover distance, just relying on his nose.
All right. You could roll survival. And you give yourself quite a bit of time to just move and sense, to just get the like scent from the winds. It's been a while since you've just done this sort of tracking or sensing. Often it's more for distance or yeah, moving, trying out the different animals or styles. And what you sense is quite a lot of known animals that you could probably, with your own intelligence, form as what kind of animal it is. And as you move through and over a fairly low bank of river, it's really odd and weird how this almost intentional or this voice with you kind of snaps you out of your own mental thoughts and like, oh, look, here is water. You know what else is in water? Like fishes. Maybe I can eat a fish. And you're sensing how much of the animal that takes over at times. But controlling it, moving, you definitely sense a other scent, kind of like a different breed all in all. It's not a animal. It's more closer to what you would probably smell like. And it is traveling further away, deeper into the woods where there are patches of hillside, not like mountains or anything, but hillsides where you have a lot of caves and systems of tunnels. And as you're looking at that direction, you are more or less certain that whatever it is has traveled to that direction.
Okay, so he's gonna like look up so he can sort of try and pinpoint like where he is in relation to the town, the power station, the mill, the hive. Sort of put himself like a point on a map, and then from that, give himself a direction to where whatever it is has gone.
Yeah. I would say, to make a very simplistic north-south point, the mill is to the north, and the only higher mountain or whatever it might be, like a high hill, it sits fairly high on top of it. You could see it from the town. And the cabin itself is more situated south of it. And the power station in that case is due west. And you could sense that this is more northwest. And probably closer to the mill rather than closer to the power station. So it is quite a distance. It's not like you see it from where you are, but you sense the direction. And you could probably just take the time, but it would still be maybe 10 minutes to get there. I mean, in full full sprint and movement of your beast form. Or if you take your truck, go back and take truck, it would probably take a half hour or a little bit more.
No, he's adventurous, but he's not stupid. So he's gonna turn back. And inform the others.
Mhm. So, by the time when Aiden, you've seen your fair share of different made up or seen, let's say, monsters and different things that people have seen. You do understand that this book is more what is out there in the view of people. So it was kind of like a waste of time. This wasn't really it. You pick up another book, and that is probably a little bit better. More so where witches or other people with powers have brought in things into this world. And as you're reading like the light form, you're guessing with your power you could maybe be able to do it, but you could never control it. Your strength within that sort of summonings is not really there yet, and still it's like I could probably catch a entity in a ritual, but yeah, controlling it and making it fall under you would be near impossible.
So I might be able to catch or trap it.
Very unlikely.
Okay.
But track it or maybe be able to summon it, sure. But from there on, its own will is probably greater than what you can do with the summon
Sure.
spell.
Okay.
Yeah. So part of the summon is also being able to ward where you are and be able to kind of hold the entity in place. So your strength in summonings are more smaller entities like the imps and stuff, you know? Like
Yeah, like a werehound or something.
yeah, a face hound or hellhound or anything like at the dog's sized thing. And it can't really be with a lot of strength power wise, as if it has too much intelligence or strength, you're not really there yet. But things that have a very similar to I need command, otherwise I won't work, maybe that is where you come in with your power at this point.
Okay.
And Yoon, you see how are you changed back then, David?
No, I mean he there's no outsiders here. He doesn't really care.
Are you like a really jacked up Wolverine or more bear like?
No, more like a more bear.
Yeah. And you approach up and you realize and see that it is David, but he has transformed into more the bear stage. So maybe from a fairly tall to much taller and much more beefier and more fur. And yeah, he's coming back.
I guess I'll open the door for him. Like you've caught anything?
I know where it
Since-
is.
Oh, okay. That's good. Anything else? Like, I mean, did you see it any or?
No.
Ah,
All I was able to figure out is that like there are things that are like this that are from like other planes, and I might be able to summon something like that, but I'd never be able to control it. So it might not be something from this world. But it could be. Like the book only gave one explanation, so it could be like David. He's not from another world. Unless you count introverts.
It's not an animal, but close. It's just gonna go to like a wall where there happens to like hang like a map of the city and the surrounding reservations and shit.
Mm-hmm.
Put it on the table. Take one of those little pins and go there.
Yeah. It would be fairly close to the border of where the lumber mill kind of has its property, where the hills starts to become the in-between hill to mountain. A lot of old mines and old like caves and tunnels. People were really adventurous back then, but now it's not really something that you really want to go into, because it's that could just fall over you. It's been something that was active in the all the way from the Klondike sort of time frame. But the last time they were in and worked in any sort of mine was maybe in the 50s. So it's not recommended to go and see if the wooden beams hold it up.
All right. Is this something that we need to go after? Like, I know it's killing all the animals, and now it's attacking people on trails. Is this something you think that we can go up against, David?
All I know is where it is and what it is and isn't.
Maybe we could strike a deal with Old Man Hooper and say, hey, we take care of this thing in your mine shafts. You give us information on your history with the Hive. I don't know. Maybe he doesn't care about whatever's terrorizing the woods.
Looking at Mila, the thing that's in the woods, has it affected anybody else? I mean, I know you said it's been killing the wildlife, but I mean, has it drove off anybody from the lumber mill? Is there any concern from the lumber mill about this thing?
She kind of looks up from her phone and looks like she needs to figure out exactly what you said, kind of like was a little bit out of your own discussions, didn't want to listen in. But she goes like, I think that old Herbert in the middle there, I think that he will put a lid on anything that happens.
Okay.
He is so powerful in the sense of controlling even the town to a certain degree. I mean, without the mill, the whole town would just cease to exist almost. It's a lot of jobs. A lot of people need to have the mill going. Everything from the truck stop down to like any sort of stop is due to different shifts that goes back and forth to the lumber mill. It never sleeps. I mean, 3 shifts constantly working. It's a hard work up there. It's and
Is
he kind of controls a lot.
is this something that you would want us to handle, or is this something that you feel should go to somebody more experienced, Mila? It sounds like David knows exactly where this thing is.
I'm not gonna be the one here who directs orders. That feels like something that you would probably be best to experience yourself. Not orders, but making your own judgment call. And you kind of sense that she wants everyone to chip in and be this sort of happy community.
Well, you guys, thoughts?
I mean, it takes us away from finding the book, but at the same time, I don't know. It could come into town. I don't know. Is it? I mean, it could be a danger to us if we try to return here. It seems Johnny Fields knows something about it. That's what Mila said.
I mean, it hasn't attacked any person yet that we know of, right? I mean, it's just been animals so far.
No, unless it really was wolves that tore the guy apart. Then the news article was about the guy, a guy getting torn apart by wolves. What if it wasn't wolves? What if it was this thing?
Does the article mention like a specific place?
Yes. It was called something.
Whispering Pines or something. Let me see.
Yeah, something Whispering Pines.
Which is a trail that kind of a walking track trail that you could take. Like the trees
like
have
a day
been
hike.
Yeah, a hike. Like a couple of trees have been removed. Some of the trees have like a ring of yellow paint around them, and you can buy these hike trails like at the gas stop and stuff like that. It's fairly popular by the tourists to do, and there are about 5 or 6 different trails depending on how long you want to go. But this one goes from the town and like close, but not really close, but in the vicinity of the power station, and alongside and then back to the town. It's not really close to the lumber mill, not that far up.
So I guess, I mean, we could just let it be, and then if it gets closer to town, we could try to do something about it unless Mila's got other sources that could handle it. And then we can just go back to town and focus on the book.
Well, David, do you think if we went out to the trail, do you think you'd be able to sense if the creature was there? Or do we need to like?
Probably.
Well, how about we do that really quick? I mean, the book's been lost for how long? I doubt it's going to be found, today.
Well, we are racing against an unknown group. We don't know how far they've gotten. The conclave.
How about this? How about you go to town and I'll follow the trail to the site where the body was found. If I get a match, or if I don't, either way, I come back and we join you. And meanwhile, you two maybe talk to the Granger historian book person.
Okay.
You think it's okay to split up?
Probably not, but time isn't on our side.
I mean, you could try using your ability again if you wanted to, but I'm not saying you have to. I don't know what questions you would ask necessarily. Because I feel like anything you ask about this entity would be like, yeah, go get it. Like, yes, it is a danger to you, or something like that, you know? I don't know what questions to ask.
Yeah, I'd hold off on that for now. Yeah, I guess let's split up. How much ground we can cover.
So Juniper and Aiden are gonna go to the town, and David is gonna try to go to the Whispering Pines Trail and see if it is a connection.
Mm. And you guys make it so that it's as close as the town. That's kind of where you guys split up. The two of you are going for the bookstore, and David are going to the track, right, to the trail. Yeah. And as you make your way back to town before you're splitting up, the familiar surrounding around you take this very ominous tone. A sudden thunderous roar echoes from the north, from the pine lumber mill. It is deep and rumbling, shaking the ground beneath your feet or your cars or bikes. The sound seems to emanate from way up and reverberates down into the town. And it's almost as a storm, a unsettling noise. And as you kind of process it, it is a heavy rumble of engines that just joins up in like a choir. From the same northern direction, a group of bikers roar into the town, and all of them clad in sort of the classic dark leather vests, helms, and they move as one. Very commanding, strong presence. And as they approach into town, it becomes fairly clear that the destination is Becky's Diner. And people in the town, fairly small, but you could see the people. They are not like surprised or like in fear by any means, but when they move as a bigger group as they do, people move out of their way and they definitely choose to stop or let them have whatever motion they have. And the group kind of parks and is on the way to the Becky's Diner. And you are now in the sort of break between you guys. You look upon each other. Anything you say about this scene together before you part ways?
I'm not going to say anything.
Good luck.
And
Yeah, I guess Aiden's just kind of distracted by the biker gang.
And David, you just leave or?
Yeah, I mean, I have nothing sort of
Against them, with them.
Yeah.
Mm.
Besides, I'm alone in my car for the first time.
Yeah. So you make your way towards the trail and into the town itself, and I think it's a good time to make a stop for the game for now.
Yo!
Yeah. So how was the game this time around? Kept a good pace, or?
I think so. Although I can totally play for longer. Sorry, I couldn't help myself. But yeah, I had a lot of fun.
TG, was there any?
It's always
lore buffs?
hard when there's like tangents, right? Like, hey, look, there's this thing in the forest.
Mhm.
Should you go after it? And like the thing is, like, knowing you, there's always things that are working in the background, like
Mhm.
clocks that are ticking, and so I never know. And there's never like a right answer. There's never like a go after this or go after that. There's no like official plot hook. It's whatever we decide to do.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just kind of a should we which way which road to take. Those kind of decisions are always tough for me to do.
Mm. Was there any fun lore dumps that you found interesting?
It was fun to just hear about the old group again. I mean, I watched all the episodes. I know what happened, and and it's interesting to see like what records were kept about them, and there's so much unknown about them, at least so far, and whether they had research notes and where they are, and I mean, none of that I even know the answer to. So
yeah, and it's difficult for me too. I have had a lot of notes written and stuff that has like its own clocks at the time, but I mean, it was what 6-7 years ago in real time too, since I played that game or GM'd it. So that group and that sort of events, it was almost the real time as in the game were presented as well. So it's at times it's difficult to answer stuff that comes up on the fly because I have to look at notes and see what the answer is.
yeah, I
completely.
wasn't expecting Juniper to want to learn about the old gang, but or the old group, but it was a good angle. Like, it's a good idea. I just wasn't expecting it.
Yeah, my notes didn't have their first names because that was something that was just in the game.
Right.
So I had like the last name because that was presented to them, and the players at the time made up their own first name, but the last name was
Given to them.
Yeah, because that kind of tied into other stuff throughout the game.
Right.
So that was actually pretty fun. How did you like the articles and stuff?
That was fun. A little. It immersed me more into the town and into the setting.
Yeah, I liked that a lot.
Just so you guys know, the date was actually today when they were written. So, and it had the state is Wyoming. That's where we are, is Wyoming.
Yeah, I don't think you got the first news thing, but that was the first.
Oh yeah, I hadn't even. Wow, I completely glossed over that part. For some reason, I was thinking we were more on the East Coast.
Salem witches, you know? No, for some reason, I always, whenever people talk about like pines and law mills, I always think about like the Northwest because there's growing up, we would, go on road trips or go camping as a family and always see
Mhm.
logging trucks, but also whole logging towns where they like throw the logs in the water and like let them travel down uh waterways instead of on
Yeah.
land. So
Yeah, but I felt
Yeah,
like that would be too classic.
too on the
yeah,
nose.
Yeah, so I took one that is similar but could work.
Not exact.
yeah.
Um, how did you fare it, Redix?
I'm really trying to play into this not liking books at all, and so far I've had great success, and I actually managed to do the cool magic trick.
Finally.
Yeah. Turn this time.
Yeah, it's fun when it actually works. It's not like just a failure. Um, but we'll continue to talk in Discord to see the next time. But I had a good time, and we were kind of on par where I thought we would be too. Maybe a little bit ahead. I thought we would be kind of like just talking in the cabin, and that's kind of where we would stop or so.
Mm-hmm.
It was kind of near the time frame, and I would say if we would play out this as like a short game, there are like a couple of more episodes to close some threads. But there would be a lot of threads still there. But if you wanted to basically play the arc and have a closure to it, I would say it's kind of like a 5 episode game. And then we can kind of discuss if we want to continue or go back to the fantasy one or whatever we might want to do. But yeah, Discord and have a great night is a good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have
Have
a good
a
night.
good one and bye bye boys.